Hey guys, we are back from our trip to Southern Pines, and as promised, I'm going to take you through that trip, our thoughts and feelings on all the golf courses, what our favorite ones were, and how you can go ahead and take this trip yourself. If you are new, I'm Joel with Sandman Realty, and you're here at Driving Triad, where we talk about everything Winston-Salem, real estate, lifestyle, and golf. Today, we're going to stay focused on the golf because this is a fantastic trip that you can take, and it's only about an hour and a half from Winston-Salem, so something that I would highly recommend you look into if you are a golf nut. So we started off our trip. We always go for a 3-day trip, playing between 3 and 4 rounds, depending on how everybody's feeling. You know, you get 12 guys together. Not everybody feels great every single day of the golf trip, so we kind of play that by ear from time to time. But we start off our trip at Pine Needles, which is probably the most iconic of the 3 golf courses. We play Pine Needles, Southern Pines, and Mid Pines. You're probably most familiar with the name Pine Needles because it's hosted multiple US Women's Opens. There's a ton of history there, and it's just a fantastic spot. So by the time you go ahead and park up in the lot and walk down to the clubhouse, you know you're in for something special. It's a really old clubhouse. Like I said, tons of history inside. You've got the bar overlooking the golf course. The golf shop does as well. It's a very classic golf course. Tons of undulation in the greens, a lot of slopes falling off, false fronts, and in the back, if you go off, I had quite a few shots where I thought I'd hit some amazing shots. I'm gonna be looking at, 5 or 6 feet for birdie. Didn't quite take the spin I was looking for, and then it went ahead and released 20 yards over the back of the green. You end up making bogey. So if you miss it in the wrong spots, you're definitely gonna be penalized. But all in all, it's a very playable golf course. The fairways are fairly generous. You are down there in the Southern Pines area, ton of pine trees. So if you're off the fairway, typically you're gonna be in a natural area, which is, like a waste area, waste bunker with some love grass, which can be very, very difficult. If you end up in one of those, you may not be able to advance it more than 15, 20 yards, depending on the lie you get. But a lot of the time, you're either gonna end up in the sandy area where if you can make good contact, you can get it back out and play, or the Pine Needles, same thing. You're gonna have to go ahead and maneuver some trees, but you've always got at least like a pitch shot back out to the fairway. If you're creative and you can hit a low hook, cut, go through some gaps, you can definitely make something happen. Now, starting off from just getting started down there, you've got the putting green, which is right off the golf shop, big, huge putting green, right next to their driving range, which has a ton of bays. It's gotta be like 400 yards long, so you're not worrying about hitting it over any nets or anything there. And of course, because it's in the Sandhills region, not too far from Pinehurst, everybody seems to like their big ornamental clocks, so you can see, okay, hey, my tee time's coming up. But it's a great opportunity for a photo op for your group, and the starters and the entire staff there really they do such a fantastic job of making sure that you feel at home, you feel cared for, and that you're gonna have a fantastic time on your trip. So they're always willing to go ahead and chat it up with you, gives you some local advice, any tips about the golf course, and of course, get that group photo before you get started. And I will say that all 3 of these golf courses are certainly difficult golf courses. You've gotta play well to score low. However, it's very playable even for the higher handicaps. So if you're not a great golfer, don't feel intimidated by going on this golf trip. Most people in our group shoot around 9. So not great golfers. We have some better players in the group who are plus handicaps who still enjoy it. Like, we look forward to it every single year. But the higher handicap guys enjoy it just as much. And so starting off at Pine Needles, very playable, but also very difficult to shoot a really good score because there's always something that can jump up and get you. But you can play at a reasonable pace of play also, which was important because our friend who hooks us up down there, Mike Asbury, who works in the reservation side of things, made sure to actually get us set up for dinner at Chapman's in downtown Southern Pines, which is just kind of this, I will call it like upscale pub food. It was perfect for the group that went there. They set us up a private room. And so for the 12 of us, just had this big old table. And, the food was fantastic, from a bacon jam burger to a couple guys did fish and chips, and the buffalo chicken sandwich was amazing too. That's what I went with. So everything there was really solid. And after that, we're heading to our house to get checked into our reservations. And yes, I said house because for our trip, I always like this to be something where we can really get to know one another, build that camaraderie. A lot of these guys now, we've been going for 4 years, so they're getting to know one another. But most of them, the common theme here is they all know me. And what I really am trying to do with this trip is get everybody to get to know one another, to build that camaraderie and have a sense of community, because they are all people that I really, really respect and I enjoy, and I think they're really gonna get along with one another. And so, as you can see here, this house is huge. We got an 8-bedroom house right on the 10th fairway of Mid-Pines, which is awesome because we go out there at night, once all the play is done for the evening, we'll go out there and hit some pitch shots and chip shots up to the 10th green. Of course, we're fixing all our ball marks, but the house has got this fantastic little patio area where we sit out there and have some cigars, have a couple beers, sit back, talk, laugh, reminisce about all the shanks and the couple birdies that were made out there during the day. So it's a great way to get our first day started. Now, day number 2, we headed over to Southern Pines, which of the 3 golf courses, I'm gonna say this is the most recently renovated, and it has become my favorite. It has just some of the most stunning views that you'll see. The vistas from going across 3 holes, and just very rugged, jagged bunkers, wastelands all over the place. A lot of strategic risk reward out there at Southern Pines. It is one of those places where we have some guys who shoot in the hundreds out at this golf course, and usually they'll have somebody in your group shoot in the low 70s, upper 60s, because they're like hole number 11. If you're playing well, you hit a good 3-wood, it's like 275 yards, you can knock a 3-wood on the green. But if you miss it out there to the right, there's a hazard. You're gonna be dropping, hitting 3 from the tee box, and just hoping that you can somehow get out of there with a 5, but 6 or 7 is a real possibility. And there's several holes like that out there. All the par 5s are reachable, but there is so much elevation change in that golf course. You'll realize it's starting on the 2nd hole where you tee off, and you probably, you can't see where your golf ball goes. It goes out there and it's just running down a hill, probably drops down 30 or 40 feet, and then you have to climb that 40 feet back up to the green. It provides a really, really unique challenge that you, one, have to control your distances, and you also have to make sure you're missing it in the right spots, because just like at Pine Needles, if you miss in the wrong spots off the greens, I swear they've buried elephants out there. There are some just massive undulations in these greens. And like I said, it's a really good risk reward golf course, but it's a fantastic golf course also in its own right. Actually, next week, I'm gonna be trying to qualify for the North Carolina Mid-Am, which is gonna be hosted, if I qualify, down there at Southern Pines. So really, really looking forward to that one. But we've never played it when the greens have been really fast, because we're there in August, hottest time of the year. But I would love to play that golf course 1 or 2 times when the greens are really moving, because there's no doubt about it, you would have some chances there for de-greening it. Feel like you got 20 feet for birdie. And if you get just a little bit anxious with that, get it just a little too excited, that thing's gone, you're 20 yards off the front of the green. And then also there at Southern Pines, we finish up, they've got this nice little bar and grill area. It's a much more quaint clubhouse than the other 2 at either Mid-Pines or Pine Needles. It's a much smaller clubhouse, but they do have an 18-hole putting course, which is a ton of fun. You get out there and knock it around, go from hole to hole, put them up on ridges and plateaus. So you can get into a lot of good little side games and bets with your buddies out there as well. But the food there at the club, always spot on. The burgers are great, but it's this very simple menu. It's something I think you probably enjoy. Now, our original plan was to go ahead and play 36 holes down there at Southern Pines on Saturday, but one of the guys in the group had a relationship that was able to get us on at the Cradle at Pinehurst Resort. So that was something that was incredibly special. We couldn't turn down. We had to go over there and run out there and try it out. I've never had the opportunity before, and it is a very, very unique experience. If you get the opportunity, you absolutely have to do it. So I'm trying to remember what our starter's name was down there for the Cradle. I think his name was Ed. He's probably 80 years old. You got every single one-liner you could possibly think of. But the coolest thing about this is when you get down there, it is, one, if you haven't been to Pinehurst Resort before, obviously go in the clubhouse, you got tons of history with all the US Opens, Ryder Cups, PGA Championships. everything under the sun has been hosted there before. You've got some of the best champions in the world who have played there. But with this little par 3 course, it's not about like trying to light the world on fire. You've got holes from like 50 yards up to 120 is probably the longest one. But the vibe out there is perfect for this sort of group. When you get there, the starter's encouraging you to go ahead and kick your socks and shoes off if you want to. Shoes are optional here. You can play in bigger groups, so we played in 2 sixteens. They have bars out there on the golf course. When I think it was the third hole when you get there, they've got a bar right behind the third green, which is like a 70-yard par 3, where everybody's sitting up there and cheering and booing and jeering and going against you, really just heckling you. That was a ton of fun, and it's got a big old backstop there, so you could throw it way past the hole, spin it back, have a chance at a hole-in-one. It was a really cool thing to see. And I will tell you what, we were there, and I didn't get any footage of this, and I hate it, but we were there with the US Kids Golf World Championships were there that weekend. So that was a really unique experience to see that, because they have Thistledew, which is their huge putting green out there at the resort, which again has its own course. There had to have been 500 kids on that putting green. And a couple of the little guys behind us, we're seeing kids who are 4 or 5 years old, just absolutely like little Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy's out there striping it, holding their finish, out there playing with their moms and their dads, high fives, screaming, jumping up and down. It was just pure joy. And I mean, that's from the guys who are out there playing at 70 years old, and for the little guys out there playing at 4 years old. If you get a chance, make sure you go ahead and do that. It was a complete vibe. I hope we can go again next year, because I've never experienced anything quite like that. It was quite a treat. After that, we made sure to go ahead, and a couple guys in our group had not been to the clubhouse before, so we took them walked through the clubhouse. You get to see, obviously, the statues of Payne Stewart and everybody else outside. Go through, see some of the old US Open trophies and replicas and things of that nature, so you can kind of see all the history that's there at Pinehurst Resort itself. Now, for our third and final day, Sunday morning, we get to go out and play Mid Pines, which before Southern Pines had fully grown in after its renovation, Mid Pines was my favorite. Because one, we're staying in the houses right there on the 10th hole of Mid Pines, so we always get to go out there and have a great time. But two, you have the inn right there at Mid Pines, which if you stay there on a package like we do with the house and the golf and everything else included, they throw in breakfast every single day for us, which is a great buffet. The food is really good. Again, super old clubhouse and facilities there. They're getting renovated starting next year. I think actually starting this winter. So if you were to go in the next year, you may not be able to stay at the inn, because there's going to be in the process of being renovated. However, when it's done, it's going to be just stepping it up to another level. In the past, they had available to rent the golf scooters there that look like the motorcycles. Probably a few guys with one or too many pops in their system have been trying to ride those things, so they've kind of dialed it back on those. But in the past, it's been a really fun thing to do, is to go ahead and get those golf motorcycles and go out there and cruise the golf course. But Mid Pines, I would say, is probably the most traditional of the 3 golf courses. Everything is very much right in front of you. Still some very, very challenging greens and tee shots and a ton of fun. But if you're new to the area, haven't played any of these golf courses before, I would say Mid Pines is probably going to be the one you're going to play the best your first time out, because I will say almost all of it is right in front of you. There's not a lot of tricked up holes where you don't know where it goes, not a lot of blind tee shots, just a lot of fun to go out there and enjoy. As I said, we rent that big house right there on the golf course. So Saturday night, we didn't feel the need to go out again after going ahead and playing 27 holes. Went back to the house, just had a whole bunch of chicken wings and hung out, went out in that back patio, which is fantastic right there on the golf course, smoked some cigars, traded some stories, talked about our bogeys, our shanks, the couple birdies that we had along the way. It was just a really, really nice way to go ahead and wind down Saturday night. But Sunday, getting out there to play Mid Pines is always such a treat for me. The conditions are always pretty much perfect. Greens are pure. It's just this whole weekend is just a pure golf experience. If you are a golf guy, golf girl, it is the place to go and check out. If you have not been there yet, it should be on a golf trip bucket list for you, because all of this, I will say, depending on the size of your group, this is something I foot the bill on for every year. It's a very reasonable golf trip. Considering the price of golf in so many different areas, it's for the price that you're paying, it's probably one of the best bang for your bucks you can really get on a golf trip anywhere, unless you're going to play, you know, some go tracks down in Myrtle Beach or something like that. But you know, we tee off again early on Sunday morning, like 9:30. That way we can be finished up just after lunch. Everybody can go home to their families, and it's just the perfect wrap on a trip. If you have, you know, the opportunity to go do it, please do so. If you're curious about properties there in that area, because, you know, this is a real estate show, so I'm going to mention here, at least at the very end, you know, we're staying in these big houses because we got groups of 12 guys. If you don't want to do that right at the resort, there's always Airbnbs and VRBOs and things of that nature. So if you are an investor that is looking for something where you could go ahead and purchase a home and have sort of a built-in clientele for an Airbnb or a VRBO, something you should definitely consider. I don't sell in that area, but I know people that do. So if that is something that would be of interest to you, I'd be happy to help you out and get in touch with the right people. That's kind of it, guys. That was our trip down to Southern Pines. It's a fantastic place, 3 amazing golf courses. And like I said, if you're interested in going, go ahead and reach out to me on my cell, 336-582-9210, or shoot me an email to joel@sandmanrealtync.com. I can get you in touch with my buddy there on the reservation side of things. He can help you out, get you hooked up with your own package that works right for your group, and I know that you'll absolutely love it. And as always, if I can help you out with any of your real estate needs, please let me know. That's what I'm here for, right here in Winston-Salem and the surrounding areas. Until next time, hit them straight. I'll catch you in the next episode of Driving Triad.